Benno von Arndt here. Let me take you back to 450 BC in Athens, the golden age of Athenian democracy. From there, Alcibiades emerged. He was the son of a wealthy politician who tragically died in battle. However, he can trace his lineage back to the Telamonian Ajax of Homer's Iliad. Now, what do you do with a bloodline that great? And a tutor like Socrates, whom helped him study oratory, music, and many other subjects? You'll get the sort of legend that starts punching aristocrats in the face in public. You'll get the sort of legend that starts a revolution class as a child just because he really fucking hated flutes. He wrote an entire treatise on how much he hates flutes. Livy dedicates 2 paragraphs or so to how much he hates flutes. This revolution continued to the point where flaunting got removed from the Athenian curriculum entirely. That's how much he incited as a child. Now imagine what he can do as an adult. The first thing Alcibiades did? Join the Peloponnesian War against Sparta, charging into the enemy lines at the Battle of Potidaea, where he was wounded but had his life saved by his tutor, Socrates. People tend to forget that guy was a soldier. Don't worry, he returned the favor though at the Battle of Delium, where Socrates was wounded, and Alcibiades cut his way through a crowd of bloodthirsty Spartans to reach the most famous philosopher in order to save him and drag him away from the fighting. Imagine if he failed. We would have no republic. We would have no Plato. We would have no Aristotle. Of course, we might have them, but they would not be the way they are now. Naturally, Alcibiades and Athens won the war through a peace treaty called the Peace of Nicaeas. However, Alcibiades wanted to be called the Peace of Alcibiades. So, what would he have to do next in order to earn that? Well, he would have to go to war with Sparta again, and that's what he set up to do. And it didn't take much either with all the charm he had. All he said is that if they conquered Sicily, they would have tons of new ships, they would have tons of new trade, and they would have expansion for the Athenian Empire, and everybody would be happy and rich and fat and all that stuff. However, after winning about 2 battles in Sicily, the Athens found him guilty of some crimes. And so what did he do? He joined Sparta, his sworn foe. He ended up helping out the Spartans. He told them which forts to reinforce. He told them where the battles were going to happen. He told them how they were going to happen. And of course he helped the king out as well by impregnating his wife and cucking him. So there he was banned as well, and he had to get out of there. This time he headed off to Persia, where he was able to convince the Athenian government to overthrow itself in a little coup and literally break apart their democracy, that famous Athenian democracy. And with a new oligarchy, he was able to unite them and ally them with Persia. There, he took charge of one of the fleets and smashed the Spartans' navy at Hellespont, defeating them in a series of battles that, in 410 BC, broke their hold on the Black Sea and made way for that vital water trade. Then, casually on the side, he defeated the Abdios, recaptured Byzantium for Persia, and returned home as a big old hero, where he got basically thrown a proto-version of a triumph, but all was not well. Sparta's navy managed to regroup, and when his helmsman was left in charge of the fleet was destroyed. Alcibiades naturally got the blame for this, and so he was stripped from his rank, where he then left to go live in a castle in Thrace. The Spartans, because he was not there, of course won the Peloponnesian War a few years later, stripping the walls of Athens and ending the military reign of Athens for good. With Sparta in charge of Athens, he was once again in trouble in Thrace because of the whole king-cucking business. So what else to do than to go to Persia and try and start another war with Sparta? But everybody was pretty sick of him by then. And so in 404 BC, his house was set on fire, causing him to run out butt naked with sword in hand, slashing at the assailants and wounding several of them until he was killed by hurling javelones and firing arrows. And that is the end of his story. Regardless, it is a legendary story.